Hello everyone and welcome back to another video from our channel, Immortal News. Today we invite you to join us for a gentle and heartfelt remembrance. We'll be honoring the American stars we've recently lost, as well as beloved figures from around the world whose lives touched us in ways we may not even realize until they're gone. These are the stories of people who made us smile, inspired us, and left behind memories that continue to echo in our hearts. Before we begin, if you could take a moment to give this video a like, it would truly mean a lot. Your support helps us continue sharing these meaningful tributes and keeping their legacies alive. Thank you for being here with us. Now let's begin. Number 9. Those who worked alongside Candy Raymond often spoke of her talent, courage, and the thoughtful way she approached every role she was given. Candy Raymond was a respected Australian actress whose career stretched across film, television, and theatre. Audiences came to know her through her work on screen, where she brought depth and authenticity to every character she played. Over the years, she built a body of work that reflected both her versatility and her dedication to the craft of acting. On television, Candy became memorable to many viewers through her appearances in Australian series that helped define an era of local storytelling. Her performances showed a rare ability to balance strength and vulnerability, making her characters feel grounded and real. Colleagues have described her as a committed professional, someone who took the work seriously while still being generous and supportive with those around her. Candy's impact extended beyond individual roles. She was part of a generation of Australian performers who helped shape the country's screen identity, working during a time when local film and television were growing in ambition and international reach. Her contributions added richness to that evolving landscape and left a lasting impression on audiences who followed her career. Friends, collaborators, and fans remember her not only for her work, but for the person behind the performances. Thoughtful, serious about her art, and willing to take on challenging material. Through the characters she brought to life, she offered viewers moments of reflection, empathy, and connection. Though her time has come to an end, the performances Candy Raymond left behind continue to speak for her. For those who watched her on screen, and for those who had the privilege of knowing her in person, her legacy lives in the stories she helped tell and the hearts she touched along the way. Tributes to Candy Raymond. Number 8. It is with a heavy heart, his husband shared, that we said goodbye to the most amazing man, husband, and papa in the universe. Brett Hannah Schuford was born on May 20th, 1979, in Beaumont, Texas, and from a young age he found his home on the stage. He began acting as a child with the Gingerbread Company and in local community theater, laying the foundation for a life in performance. That early love of storytelling led Brett all the way to Broadway. He made his Broadway debut in Beauty and the Beast and went on to appear in productions such as The Little Mermaid, Wicked, Ragtime, and the Radio City Christmas Spectacular. He worked extensively with Disney theatrical productions and also stepped onto film sets, including a role in The Wolf of Wall Street. Beyond the spotlight, Brett built something deeply personal and meaningful with his husband, dancer Stephen Hannah. The two married on April 18, 2011 and later became parents to their son Maverick. Together, they created the Broadway Husbands platform, sharing their lives as a queer family with hundreds of thousands of followers. Their videos and posts offered authentic LGBTQ+ family storytelling and visibility and helped many people feel seen, hopeful, and less alone. Brett was not only an actor and producer, but also a dedicated social media content creator and influencer. His work blended art, family, and advocacy, and his presence in the Broadway community and online space reflected courage, joy, and openness. In the summer of 2025, Brett was diagnosed with hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis and T-cell lymphoma, facing multiple ICU stays with strength and love surrounding him. On January 3, 2026, Brett Hannah Schuford died in Manhattan, New York City, at the age of 46. Those who rallied around his family during his illness, including many in the Broadway community, showed how deeply he was respected and cherished. His husband has promised to continue making him proud, carrying forward the love and legacy Brett built on stage and at home. Tributes to Brett Hannah Schuford. Number 7. We appreciate all of the kind words, thoughts, and prayers her family shared, asking gently for privacy as they faced this loss together. Today we remember Victoria Kafka-Jones, a 34-year-old actress who grew up in the orbit of film yet tried to walk that path in her own quiet way. She was the daughter of acclaimed actor Tommy Lee Jones and his ex-wife Kimberly Clofley, and the sister of Austin Jones. In her own family life, she was married to Navik Sija, a member of the vineyard-owning Sija family. Victoria stepped in front of the camera in several projects, often alongside or connected to her father's work. She appeared in Men in Black 2 in 2002, The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada in 2005, and later in The Homesman in 2014, which would become her final screen credit. She also had a guest appearance on the television series One Tree Hill in 2005, and she held a Screen Actors Guild card, marking her place in the professional acting community. Those who worked with her remembered that she was a good actress, and that she spoke Spanish beautifully. Even as she had these talents and opportunities, Victoria preferred to live a private life, away from the constant spotlight that can follow a famous family name. Her story also included struggle. In the year before her passing, she was arrested at least twice for drug possession. These details do not define who she was, but they do remind us that behind every familiar last name is a human being, facing real battles that many never see. Victoria was found unresponsive on the 14th floor of the Fairmont San Francisco Hotel, and was later pronounced dead there. Authorities reported no signs of foul play. The news brought a wave of sadness to those who knew her and to those who only knew of her through the film she touched. The Fairmont San Francisco expressed that they were deeply saddened by what happened and extended heartfelt condolences to her family and loved ones in this very difficult time. Today, we hold space for Victoria's life, for the daughter, sister, and wife she was, for the actress who shared the screen in memorable films, and for the person behind it all, navigating life as best she could. Tributes to Victoria Jones. Number 6. It is with tremendous sadness that we remember Isiah Whitlock Jr., a brilliant actor who so many people felt they truly loved once they knew his work and his spirit. Isiah Whitlock Jr. was born on September 13, 1954. Over more than 3 decades, he built a career that made him one of the most recognizable and respected character actors in American film and television. He became best known for his unforgettable turn as State Senator R. Clayton Clay Davis in HBO's The Wire, appearing in approximately 22 episodes between 2002 and 2008, and joining the main cast in the show's 5th season. That role alone would have secured his place in television history, but it was only one chapter of a wide-ranging body of work. Isiah moved easily between film, television, and voice acting. Early in his career, he appeared in films like Goodfellas and Gremlins 2, The New Batch. On television, he showed his range in projects including Veep, Your Honor, Rubicon, Lucky 7, and later The Residents. He also lent his voice to the world of video games with a role in Grand Theft Auto V. He was a frequent collaborator with director Spike Lee, appearing in multiple films including 25th Hour, BlacKkKlansman, and Da 5 Bloods. Those collaborations highlighted how deeply filmmakers trusted his craft and presence on screen. Across all these roles, audiences came to know him as a performer of remarkable precision, timing, and personality. Colleagues remembered not just his talent, but the kind of person he was off-camera. His manager shared that if you knew him, you loved him, calling him a brilliant actor and an even better person, and wishing that his memory forever be a blessing. Director Spike Lee described his passing as a big loss and expressed how deeply he would miss him. Isiah Whitlock Jr. died on December 30, 2025 in New York City. He was 71. He leaves behind an enduring legacy through the characters he brought to life, the stories he helped tell, and the people he touched along the way. Tributes to Isiah Whitlock Jr. Number 5. Friends and family say that Richard Smallwood gave the world a modern-day hymn in total praise, a song that reached hearts from every background and walk of life. Richard Smallwood was born on November 30, 1948, in Atlanta, Georgia. From an early age, music became his language, and he carried that gift with discipline and grace. At Howard University, he graduated cum laude with a dual degree in classical vocal performance and piano, helped found the school's first gospel choir, and sang with the Celestials. He later completed graduate work in ethnomusicology and earned a Master of Divinity from the Howard University School of Divinity in 2004, before being ordained at Metropolitan Baptist Church. In 1977, in Washington, D.C., he formed the Richard Smallwood Singers, bringing a fresh sound that blended classical movements with traditional gospel. Their debut album, released in 1982, stayed on Billboard's gospel chart for 87 weeks, announcing a powerful new voice in gospel music. Over the years, he also formed the ensemble Vision, continuing to shape contemporary gospel with a large dynamic choir. Richard Smallwood was a gospel singer, recording artist, composer, pianist, arranger, and music educator. He taught music at the University of Maryland and poured that same love of learning into his compositions. Songs like Center of My Joy, I Love the Lord, Holy Holy, and Total Praise became standards in churches and choirs, with I Love the Lord, later recorded by Whitney Houston for The Preacher's Wife. His artistry was recognized across the industry. He earned 8 Grammy nominations, 4 Dove Awards, and 6 Stellar Awards, and won a Grammy Award for his production work on Handel's Messiah, A Soulful Celebration. In 2006, he was inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame, and in 2023 he received the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. The Smithsonian Institution honored him as a gospel innovator and songwriter, acknowledging how deeply he influenced Black gospel music. Richard Smallwood died on December 30, 2025 at age 77, from complications of kidney failure at a rehabilitation and nursing center in Sandy Spring, Maryland. His songs continue to be sung in worship services, concerts, and quiet personal moments, carrying comfort, hope, and faith to new generations. Tributes to Richard Smallwood. Number 4. Friends and audiences remember John Mulrooney as a New York original whose quick wit and big-hearted presence lit up every room he walked into. John Mulrooney was an American comedian, radio host, television host, actor, and writer, born in New York City and raised in Brooklyn. His journey in comedy began in 1979 at Pips Comedy Club in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, and from there he became a familiar face on the vibrant New York comedy scene, performing at legendary clubs like Catch a Rising Star, the comic strip, the improv, and Dangerfields. His talent soon carried him to Los Angeles, where he became a regular at the Improvisation, the Comedy Store, and the Laugh Factory. On television, John stepped into a national spotlight when he hosted The Late Show on Fox from 1987 to 1988, following Joan Rivers, and then Fox's Comic Strip Live from 1988 to 1990. Over his career, he appeared in over 300 stand-up television performances, including shows on HBO, Showtime, A&E, Comedy Central, and many others, and he wrote and produced 165 episodes of television programming. In 1994, John wrote and starred in the sitcom Midtown North on Comedy Central, showcasing not only his stand-up skills but also his eye for character and storytelling. He was also the featured comic on Andrew Dice Clay's Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view special. In 1996, John moved back to New York City and brought his humor to radio. He co-hosted The John and Abby Show on 105.1 The Buzz, and later Wolf and Mulrooney in the Morning on Pix 106 in Albany, where the show famously beat The Howard Stern Show in ratings in 2000. For his work behind the mic, he received the NYSB Broadcasters Award for Best On-Air Personality twice. He went on to host Mulrooney in the Morning on iHeartRadio, beginning in 2014. John also shared his comedy far beyond studios and clubs. He toured Israel on the Crossroads Comedy Tour and traveled to the Middle East to entertain troops, bringing laughter to people who needed it most. John Mulrooney died on December 29, 2025 at age 67, at his home in Coxsackie, New York. He leaves behind a legacy of sharp stand-up, groundbreaking radio, and a lifetime spent making people laugh. Tributes to John Mulrooney. Number 3. Those who love Tatiana Schlossberg will remember most how deeply she cared about the world and the people in it. Tatiana Schlossberg was a journalist and author who devoted her work to helping others understand the environment and the ways our everyday choices affect the planet. She wrote with clarity and purpose, bringing complex issues closer to ordinary people and encouraging thoughtful action. In her career, Tatiana used her voice to explore climate change, environmental policy, and the responsibilities we share to care for the earth. Her writing reflected not only intelligence and curiosity, but also a sense of responsibility to future generations. Beyond her professional work, Tatiana was cherished as a daughter, a sister, and a loved one. She was part of a close-knit family that valued public service, learning, and compassion, and she carried those values into her own life and work. Those around her knew her as thoughtful, engaged, and deeply committed to the causes she believed in. Tatiana's impact lives on in the conversations she started, the readers she reached, and the gentle but firm way she reminded people that what we do matters. Her legacy is one of awareness, care, and a quiet determination to leave the world better than she found it. Though her time was far too short, the love she gave and the work she did continue to echo forward. In remembering Tatiana Schlossberg, we honor a life guided by conscience, kindness, and a genuine desire to help others see the world more clearly. Tributes to Tatiana Schlossberg. Number 2. Those who shared a stage or a song with Hayden Thompson often remembered the quiet joy he carried whenever he picked up a guitar. Hayden Thompson was an American singer, songwriter, and rockabilly musician born in Boonville, Mississippi. Given his first guitar at age 5, he quickly grew into a gifted player, and by 9 he was already singing gospel on local radio. In high school he formed his first band, the Southern Melody Boys, and in 1954 they made their first recording, I Feel the Blues Coming On. That early spark would carry him into the emerging world of 1950s rock and roll. As a young artist, Hayden stepped into the heart of the rockabilly era. He appeared on the Louisiana Hayride Show and recorded Love My Baby, released on the Phillips International label in September 1957. He toured with notable rockabilly figures Sonny Burgess and Billy Lee Riley, and in 1956 relocated to Memphis, Tennessee, making further recordings there. 2 years later, he moved to Chicago, Illinois, where he built a following and held a residency at the Rivoli Ballroom, a well-known country music venue. In 1967, he released his debut album, Here's Hayden Thompson, on Cap Records. In the early 1970s, Hayden stepped away from the music industry and worked as a limousine driver in Chicago, but his connection to music never truly faded. When rockabilly found new life among fans in Europe and Japan in the mid-1980s, he returned to performing on rockabilly revival tours. His music reached new audiences through releases on labels such as Charlie Records and the Finnish label Blue Light, which issued a self-titled LP in 2007. He continued to record albums including The Time Is Now, Standing Tall, Learning the Game, and projects like Diamonds and Cadillacs with the Hal Peters Trio in Finland. Honored as a member of the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, Hayden Thompson's career stretched from the 1950s into the 21st century. His early recordings became cult favorites among rock and roll fans, and his later work showed a steady, enduring love for the music he helped shape. Hayden Thompson died on December 31, 2025 at the age of 87, leaving behind a legacy cherished by rockabilly listeners around the world. Tributes to Hayden Thompson. What's trending on the internet? Let's spend a moment today with someone whose music has been part of so many memories. Barry Manilow, the legendary singer and songwriter, now 81 years old. Barry recently shared a photo from his hospital bed after being diagnosed with lung cancer, and in true Barry Manilow fashion, he did it with grace, warmth, and a reassuring smile. The picture shows him in a hospital gown, giving a gentle thumbs up and letting fans know that his treatment is underway and that he's feeling hopeful. He explained that doctors caught his cancer early, thanks to a routine checkup, and that he's already completed surgery and begun treatment. Most importantly, Barry says he's looking forward to getting back on stage and back to the music he loves. He made a point to thank his medical team, his husband Gary Keefe, and the fans who have supported him for decades. For many, Barry's songs are the soundtrack of a lifetime. From weekend dances to first dates to wedding receptions, classics like Mandy, Could It Be Magic, and of course Copacabana have brought joy to living rooms, car rides, and concert halls all over the country. His music has always had a way of making people feel understood, comforted, and uplifted. Barry's also spent years giving back, especially through music education for young people. He's quietly donated instruments to schools and supported programs that make sure the next generation has the chance to discover the power of music, just like he once did. As he continues his recovery, fans across America and around the world are responding with messages of love, prayer, and gratitude. Many are sharing stories of first concerts, special songs, and the comfort his music has brought during both happy and hard times. While this health news is serious, Barry's message is filled with optimism. He's encouraging everyone to stay on top of their checkups, to listen to their bodies, and to lean on loved ones when life gets challenging. And he's reminding us that even in tough moments, there's room for hope, humor, and a little bit of music. However his journey unfolds, Barry Manilow's legacy is already shining bright. A lifetime of songs that bring people together, a career marked by kindness and generosity, and a spirit that keeps looking forward. And as fans continue to sing along, he'll be remembered not only as an icon of music, but as a symbol of resilience, gratitude, and the simple joy of sharing a beautiful song with the world. News 2. You know, some people just seem born with a love for the mountains in their hearts, and today we're honoring one of them. Authorities in Colorado have shared that 44-year-old climber John Michael Daniel of Denver has died after a fall while climbing Citadel Peak, a rugged and beautiful summit in Clear Creek County. He was climbing with a partner over the weekend when he fell several hundred feet. Rescue teams worked through challenging terrain to reach him, but he did not survive. His climbing partner was safely helped off the mountain, and no one else was hurt. Local search and rescue crews, along with the sheriff's office, responded quickly and worked carefully and respectfully at the scene. Officials have called the area technically difficult, reminding everyone just how powerful and unpredictable nature can be. While the details are heartbreaking, what stands out most is the life behind the name. Friends and family describe John as an experienced climber and an outdoors enthusiast who truly came alive in the high country. The mountains were not just a hobby for him. They were a place of peace, challenge, and joy. For many people who love the outdoors, that feeling is familiar. The fresh air, the quiet high above the tree line, and the sense of accomplishment after a long climb. John's story is a reminder of how deeply people can connect with the natural world and how that connection can shape a life filled with adventure and appreciation. As we think of his family and loved ones, it's also a good moment to recognize the selfless work of search and rescue volunteers and first responders who put themselves in tough conditions to bring people home and offer closure after tragedies like this. John Michael Daniel will be remembered not just for the way his life ended, but for the way he lived it, pursuing what he loved, embracing the beauty of the mountains, and inspiring others to find joy in the great outdoors. His legacy lives on in every sunrise over a rocky ridge, and every hiker or climber who pauses to take in the view, grateful for the gift of another day outside. News 3. You're going to love this story of a very good dog who turned out to be a real-life hero. In Auburn, California, a 26-year-old mom named Courtney, her 3-year-old daughter Oakland, and their dog, a Catahoula mix named Moose, were settling in for the night in their RV when everything changed in an instant. It was just before midnight when Moose suddenly started barking non-stop and acting unusually frantic. At first, Courtney thought Moose was just restless, but the barking kept getting louder and more urgent. When she got up to check, she smelled smoke and realized the RV was on fire. In those critical seconds, Moose's warnings gave her just enough time to grab little Oakland and race outside. Within moments of them escaping, flames engulfed the RV, destroying almost everything they owned. But thanks to Moose's instincts and determination, both mother and daughter made it out safely. Fire crews arrived to put out the blaze, and while the family lost their home on wheels and many belongings, they kept what mattered most: each other. Courtney has shared how deeply grateful she is to Moose, calling him their hero and crediting him with saving their lives. Friends, neighbors, and people online have been rallying around the family, offering support, kind words, and help as they work to rebuild. For many of us, pets are part of the family. This story is a powerful reminder that sometimes they're also our protectors. Moose may not know he's a hero, but to Courtney and little Oakland, he will always be the brave dog who refused to stop barking until his family was safe. As this young mom and her daughter start over, they'll carry forward a story of courage, quick thinking, and an unbreakable bond with a loyal dog who quite literally saved the day. And Moose will be remembered, every single day, as the four-legged guardian who gave them the gift of more tomorrows together. News 4. If you've ever watched a winter storm roll in over the ocean and felt both its beauty and its danger, this story may stay with you for a while. In the seaside town of Aberdeen, Scotland, along the North Sea coast, a community is quietly remembering 3 people connected to a heartbreaking incident near the city's harbor. Authorities were first called to the water near the pier on a very cold and snowy day. Crews battled the harsh weather as they searched the frigid waters, knowing every minute mattered. Rescue teams managed to pull one person from the water that day and rushed them to the hospital. Sadly, that individual later passed away. In the days that followed, as the snow and wind continued, search crews kept returning to the shoreline and the harbor area, hoping to bring closure to families and friends who were waiting for news. A second body was later recovered from the water, and authorities believe it is connected to the same incident. Despite their best efforts, the search for a possible third person has now been called off, with officials explaining that weather conditions and safety concerns made it too dangerous to continue. Through it all, what stands out is the dedication of the local emergency responders and Coast Guard teams. In freezing temperatures, rough seas, and swirling snow, they worked together for hours on end, doing everything they could to help, and to offer families even a small measure of peace. For the people of Aberdeen, and for many watching this story from afar, this has become a moment to pause, to think of loved ones, and to appreciate the quiet heroism of those who answer the call in the worst of conditions. While the details have been handled with care and respect by local authorities, the feelings are universal: sadness for lives lost, gratitude for those who tried to save them, and compassion for the families now grieving. As this coastal town moves forward, these individuals will be remembered not just for how their lives ended, but for the lives they lived, the people they loved, and the community that now holds their memories close. In the midst of winter's cold, their stories remind us to hold our own families a little tighter, to be mindful near the water, and to honor the quiet strength of communities that come together in times of loss. News 5. Some love stories touch so many hearts that even in the face of heartbreak, people all over the country find themselves pausing to remember what really matters. That is exactly what's happening right now as folks are learning about 28-year-old Elias Eli Tovar Fazio and 3 of his young nieces, who were tragically killed in a helicopter crash in Arizona on what was supposed to be Eli's wedding day. Eli and his fiancée, 27-year-old Alexis Lara, had traveled with family and friends to the small town of Wickenburg, Arizona, for a beautiful desert wedding celebration. After the ceremony, they boarded a helicopter along with 3 of Eli's nieces, 13-year-old Sofia Valenzuela, 11-year-old Cecilia Valenzuela, and 9-year-old Maria Valenzuela. In a heartbreaking turn of events, the helicopter went down in the desert, taking their lives and leaving only Alexis surviving with serious injuries. Authorities say the crash happened not far from Wickenburg, and the community response has been both swift and deeply compassionate. Family members describe Eli as a devoted partner, a loving uncle, and a young man who was absolutely thrilled to be marrying the love of his life. His nieces, Sofia, Cecilia, and Maria, are being remembered as bright, joyful girls who adored their uncle, loved being together, and brought energy and laughter into every room they entered. In the days since the accident, support has poured in from all directions: friends, neighbors, co-workers, church communities, and even strangers who never met the family but were moved by their story. Messages of prayer, comfort, and encouragement for Alexis and the grieving relatives are spreading across social media, showing just how connected people can be in moments like this. Family members have shared that Eli and Alexis had dreamed of building a life around family, faith, and simple joys. Photos from their wedding day show big smiles, warm embraces, and a close-knit group of relatives who truly loved being together. Those memories, and the love shared on that day, are now a powerful reminder of how precious time with loved ones can be. As investigators carefully look into what caused the crash, the focus for many remains on honoring these 4 lives. Friends are organizing vigils, lighting candles, and sharing stories of Eli's kindness and the girls' playful spirits. People are remembering Sophia's creativity, Cecilia's sweet and thoughtful nature, and little Maria's boundless enthusiasm. For older viewers who have seen many seasons of life, this story may stir a familiar mix of sorrow and gratitude. Sorrow for lives cut far too short, and gratitude for the reminder to hold our families close, to say "I love you" a little more often, and to cherish everyday moments that might otherwise slip by. Eli Tovar Fazio, Sofia, Cecilia, and Maria will be remembered not only for the heartbreaking way their lives ended, but for the love, joy, and togetherness they brought to their family. And as Alexis continues to recover, people across the country are quietly cheering for her healing and surrounding her with their thoughts and prayers. In the end, this is a story about love that stretched across an entire family, across generations, and now across the internet, as thousands of people pause to reflect on what truly matters. Eli and his nieces will live on in the stories that are told about their smiles, their kindness, and the beautiful wedding day that, despite the tragedy, will always be remembered for the love that filled it. Number 1. Those who were blessed to work alongside him often remembered the quiet compassion and steady dedication Harvey Pratt brought to every case and every canvas. Harvey Pratt was an Oklahoma artist and forensic investigator whose life's work bridged justice, healing, and art. Over the course of his career, he became widely known for his contributions to forensic investigation, using his artistic skill to help law enforcement bring clarity to difficult and often heartbreaking cases. His work in this field touched many lives, offering families answers in moments of deep uncertainty. Beyond investigation, Harvey devoted himself to art that honored story, memory, and culture. His creative work stood as a reflection of his commitment to people, especially those whose voices needed to be seen and heard in new ways. Through his art, he helped preserve important histories and gave visual form to experiences that might otherwise have been overlooked. Harvey's dual path as both artist and investigator made his journey unique. It showed a rare balance of technical skill and deep humanity. Colleagues and communities alike recognized how he used his talents in service to others, whether in a quiet studio or in collaboration with those seeking truth and resolution. Those who knew him speak not only of his achievements, but of his character, his kindness, his patience, and his willingness to give his time and gifts for the good of others. His legacy lives on in the many people he helped, in the works of art he created, and in the example he set for future artists and investigators who hope to use their abilities to make the world a little better. Though he is no longer with us, the stories he helped resolve and the images he brought into being will continue to carry his spirit forward. Tributes to Harvey Pratt. French tributes remember Brigitte Bardot as a woman who chose to give up everything for animals, and as a legend whose life of freedom shone far beyond her country's borders.